We have a guest speaker, Dr. Mehdi Shariati. Before he makes his way up the stage, I'd like to share a few highlights of his accomplishments throughout his career. He is a professor of economics, geography, and sociology. He holds degrees in sociology, economics, and has a multidisciplinary PhD. He's also written articles on various topics ranging from global political economy to social change and community issues. And he's also authored 2 textbooks in economics. Would you please help me welcome Dr. Mehdi Shariati.
Ladies and gentlemen, compatriots, good evening. It is an honor and a privilege to stand before you to speak. We'll say a few words about perhaps one of the greatest individuals in human history. The fact is, again, that's just one example of that consumption of history. Look how we're consuming that very old history, ancient history in Iran today. I don't have to tell you. Cyrus the Great was the first empire built. But it is believed that we have a king called Shushina, around 3,750 BC. Who knows? Maybe that's a made-up name, right? Who's checking? Right? When I say conjecture, so yeah, that's the first king. But then 3,750 years later, we have Cyrus the Great that builds an empire, including many territories of different people, different color, shape, language, religion, culture, etc., etc., etc. And then, of course, Cyrus, when he died, during the last year of his reign, the competition for successor began. And then from there on, we see a precipitous drop in regards for human rights throughout our history, sadly. I don't know of any time in Iranian history that was manifestly and expressly, that was part of their political philosophy. I don't know. I'd like to know if anybody knows. And I don't have to say anything about the current reality, of course, around the world. The hatred based on religion, culture, language. That's not us. That's not us. There's one thing that we take pride in, and that is the multicultural outlook. that we don't hate people based on their religion, based on their language, based on their color of skin and ritual. That was true in the ancient Persian history, culture that was promoted. And in many ways, ideally, we've always been talking about this, equality, those of us who are part of the Islamic faith. That is very clear. Judeo-Christian Islamic religion, always, Zoroastrians. Good deed, good thoughts, good words, good deeds, right? The three pillars. Those are all, in many ways, indicative of rights of humanity, preservation of the right, a society based on peace. But I mentioned something about the consumption of history, and I don't know how much time I have. But it is, Cyrus appeared at a time period which, according to Karl Jaspers, the German philosopher, was the axial age, the pivotal age, meaning during that time, wonderful things happened because we had individuals who really appeared in societies and really changed the direction of society. Zoroaster in Persia, Confucius in China, Pythagoras in Greece, and Mahatma, the great Buddha, in India. These were philosophers, teachers of morality and ethics. They were religious leaders. They wanted a society which was based on peace, equality. And so, during that time period, perhaps that context was ripe for the rise of someone like Cyrus the Great. I don't believe that, according to Thomas Carlyle, history is made by the great men. I think history is made by everyday people. And from time to time, there is one. That there is an opportunity in the context of society that can come to power and change things, for better or for worse, right? We've seen how many of them have been seen throughout history. 20th century is replete with these characters, right? So, Cyrus the Great, once Marduk, the great god. I thought he was going to say Ahura Mazda. Some people said he was Zoroaster, actually. But when he enters Babylon, he mentions the word Marduk. And by the way, speaking of Cyrus the Great's names in different texts, I believe the Old Testament and New Testament sometimes 30 times name of Cyrus is mentioned. Book of Daniel, Ezra, etc. Forgive me, I don't claim to know that part of his history. Now, the contemporary, of course, relevance of Cyrus the Great must be studied further. What I mean by that is this. We're living in a country that has a constitution, and the framers of that constitution, such as John Quincy Adams, John Adams, and others, according to scholarly conferences that I came across, articles, publications, books, Cyropedia was the basis of their ideas about human rights. The Education of Cyrus the Great, written by Xenophon in the 3rd century BC. Xenophon, by the way, was also a philosopher, but also a mercenary. Actually, he fought on the side of the Persians. But Xenophon's Cyropedia was read by Thomas Jefferson, one of the framers of the Constitution. So when I hear sometimes people refer to Hammurabi and his codes as the basis of Western freedom based on philosophy, I cringe, because when I studied Hammurabi, I see that how institutionalization of a slavery was a legitimate and rightful and logical and natural thing. How could that be the basis of any kind of democracy? Fast forward to the future from 1800 BC to 500 BC, Cyrus the Great Cylinder today is still influencing our decisions. I'm told that my time is up, but thank you very much.
Thank you.